Welcome to this video on completing the financial declaration form as part of the modification process. Today we will be filling out this form in English. However, it is available in different languages if needed. You can find these translated forms online or by calling us and requesting the form in the language you need. We will provide a link to these translated forms in the video description below. Completing the financial declaration form is an important part of modifying your child support order. This form helps make sure your child support order reflects your financial circumstances. While this form may look difficult, this video is designed to make it easier to complete. If you find that you need additional assistance, understanding what is being asked for, reading the forms, or completing the calculations, remember, you can call your Support Enforcement Officer, SEO, for assistance at 1-800-442-KIDS, which is 1-800-442-5437. You will need your case number or social security number when you call. You may also want to ask a friend, professional, or family member for assistance. Above all, know that while you should do your best to provide accurate information, you can also fill in "I don't know" and provide estimates. Having certain financial information available while filling out this document makes it easier to complete. If you have them, please gather your last 2 most recent months of pay stubs. If you are not sure where to find your pay stubs, ask your employer. They should be able to help you get copies. Also, if you have them, gather your tax returns for the last 2 years and any bills you have that show your monthly expenses. This could include your rent or mortgage, utility bills, childcare bills, or healthcare costs. You may also have fines and fees that you want considered, such as legal financial obligations or court-related costs. If you do, gather that information as well. These are all pieces of information that help the court figure out a fair child support order. Feel free to pause the video while you gather the information and as needed throughout the video. You may want to have a calculator or your phone handy to add up some numbers as we go. Got all the information needed? Wonderful. Let's get started. We are going to go through this form section by section. As we do, remember that it's okay if you don't know the answer to a question or don't have all the information. There may even be sections of this form that don't apply to you. It's okay to leave those sections blank. Once you submit the form, there will be other chances to add more information. Under Section 1, write your name. For the highest education, you can put your highest grade level completed. If you graduated high school, write 12. If you went on to college, you can use an abbreviation for a college degree, such as AA if you have an associate's degree, or BA if you have a bachelor's degree. If you are currently working, list your job title. Check yes, and if you remember, note the month and year you were hired. If you don't know any of this information, just write, "I don't know." If you are not currently working, please provide any information you can about the last date you worked. Again, just write, "I don't know" if you can't remember. Also, if you are not working, you may consider providing documentation for why you are not working. For example, proof of disability, court-ordered meetings, treatment plans, etc. If you are homeless, you can note that as well. All this can be helpful when your child support amounts are calculated. Section 2 is a summary of all your financial information. You will transfer information from other sections of this form back here to Section 2, so let's skip this for now. We will come back to it later. For the next few sections of this form, you'll see there are 2 columns, one for you and one for the other party. You are only responsible for providing your information. You are welcome to just draw a line through the other party column, unless you know some information about their financial circumstances. Section 3 is all about your income. If you do not receive income, you may skip to Section 4 of this form. Again, if you have the other party's information, you may enter it, but you don't have to. At any point, if you need to take a break, feel free to pause the video and come back when you are ready. And remember, you've got this. In this next section, we are going to show you a couple of example pay stubs. Please remember these are just examples and the numbers we're using are made up. Please be sure to use the actual figures from your pay stubs. This section focuses first on your gross income. Gross income is how much you make before deductions are taken out. Deductions are things like taxes, insurance, union dues, child support, and retirement contributions. We'll get to those in a minute. Enter your gross wages here. Many people get paid weekly or twice per month, so make sure you add up all your pay stubs for the last month. There are also other ways people make money. If you get interest or dividends from a bank account or investments, that information goes here. If you don't get money from those sources, just put a 0. Similarly, if you own a business, list your income here. Again, just put a 0 or NA if this doesn't apply to you. If you receive spousal support or spousal maintenance, place the name of the person paying the money to you and the amount you receive on this line. Note the amount of any other income you may receive, such as rental income, in this box. Using a calculator or your phone, add the first 5 lines together and place the total here. The total of these lines is your gross monthly income. Okay, take a close look at this box that we just filled out. See how it has a bold dotted outline? You will see different boxes like this throughout the form. This is an indication that we will be using that number again. The next line is your total gross income for this year. That means how much you have made since the start of this year. If you make about the same each month, then you can estimate the number. For example, if it is May, and if your gross monthly income in April was $2,000, you can multiply 2,000 by 4, the number of months from January to April, to get your estimated gross income for the year, $8,000. If your income changes a lot from month to month, you have 2 options. You can either estimate the amount by averaging your income, or you can write, I don't know. If you are filling out the other party's income, pause the video now and repeat these steps for the other party column. Again, you are not required to fill out the other party column for the modification process to continue. Moving on to section B on page 2, you will need your pay stubs. And remember to total up these amounts from all your pay stubs in the month. If you do not see a deduction for that specific box, it's okay to leave that box blank. Feel free to pause the video often while you look through your pay stubs to find the correct deduction. Under deduction on your pay stub, you will take the number for income tax, often listed as withholding tax, and place that number here. If you live in a state that also has state income tax, please add the federal and state income withholding tax together and put that total here. Here you will add together your Social Security tax and Medicare tax. This may be listed as FICA tax. For this box, add together any state industrial insurance, including workers' comp or L&I. Here you will take the number for any mandatory union dues or professional dues. This form asks that mandatory pension withholdings go in this box. Pension contributions are involuntary withholdings for retirement. Put any voluntary retirement contributions in this box. Voluntary retirement contributions are funds that you voluntarily put into an account like a 401k, 403b, IRA, or Roth IRA. If you have any voluntary retirement contributions, you may be asked to provide further documentation. If you pay spousal support, alimony, or spousal maintenance, place that number here. If you have any normal business expenses, you can place that number here. These will be the expenses you would use to write off on your taxes. Add this section together and place that number here. These are your total monthly deductions. Note that this box also has a bold dotted outline around it. This means we will use it again later in this form. If you are filling out the other party's income, pause the video now and repeat these steps for the other party column. Again, you are not required to fill out the other party column for the modification process to continue. On page 2 for section C, we will calculate your net income. Net income is your income after deductions. To calculate your net income, we will take your gross income and subtract your deductions. Remember those boxes I pointed out earlier with the bold dotted outlines? Now note that the label here says total gross monthly income. There is an additional clue that says from A above. Take the number from the bold outlined box in section A and place it here. Then take the total monthly deduction number from line B above and place it here. Grab your calculator again and take the total gross monthly income minus the total monthly deductions. This is your net monthly income, and that amount goes here in this boldly outlined box. If you are filling out the other party's income, pause the video now and repeat these steps for the other party column. Again, you are not required to fill out the other party column for the modification process to continue. Great work so far. If you need a break, feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, let's keep going. On page 3, section 4, we are looking at other income, other household income, and any available assets. Here, you will note any other income that is not already listed, any child support received from other relationships, and the income of any other adults living in your home. You may have blank spaces on this section of the form, and that's fine. Under Other Income, please do not repeat any income already listed. Under the first line, list any child support you receive from any other cases. This does not include the child support for the case you are currently filling out this paperwork for. If you have any other sources of income such as side work or income from a side business, list those amounts on this line. Add the above lines together for this section and enter the number here. For section B on page 3, it asks for the gross income of other adults who live in your household. You may wonder why we ask for this information. After all, we only use your income to calculate the basic child support obligation. But the court requests the information for other adults in your household in case there is a reason to deviate or change from the standard support calculation you may pay or receive. Remember, gross income is the amount before deductions come out. Deductions are things like taxes, insurance, union dues, child support, and retirement contributions. Place the total in this boldly outlined box. If you are filling out the other party's income, pause the video now and repeat these steps for the other party column. Again, you are not required to fill out the other party column for the modification process to continue. On page 3, section 5, it says, if you disagree with the other party's statement about anyone's income, explain why the other party's statements are not correct and why your statements are correct. This might be hard to complete because you probably don't know what the other party's statements are since the case hasn't been filed yet. It's okay to leave this part of the form blank if you don't have the other party's income information, if you agree with what was submitted, or if nothing else has been submitted yet. However, this might also be a place where you can note any information you might have about the other person's income. Maybe you know they have income from a small business or other sources, and you want to make sure this is taken into consideration. This is a place where you can note that. On page 3, section 6, it says to list your liquid assets. Liquid assets are things that are either cash or can be turned into cash easily. The first entry is for cash on hand or in any accounts such as a checking or savings account. enter the total amount here. List any stocks, bonds, CDs, or other liquid financial accounts you have here. List the cash value of any life insurance you may have here. List any other liquid assets you may have here. Add these together and place the total here. If you think you may have some of these assets but you are not sure, you can write, "I don't know," or "I don't remember." If you need to write an additional note of explanation about why you answered a certain question the way you did, that's okay. We are now done with the income section. Halfway there. Now we move on to page 4, section 7, monthly expenses after separation. Separation is a legal term defined as two people that were married, no longer living together. If you were never married, then that just means your current monthly expenses. The instructions read, tell the court what your monthly expenses are or will be after separation. If you have dependent children, your expenses must be based on the parenting plan or schedule you expect to have for the children. Before we start filling this out, let's just look at this page for a moment. Notice that there are several of those boxes with the bold dotted outlines. Also note that there are several labeled sections. We have A, housing expenses, B, utilities expenses, and so on. Now look over here. Here is where it says, list all total expenses from above. And below that are the same labels. A, total housing expenses, B, total utilities expenses, and so on. To complete this page, first gather your monthly expenses and place them on the appropriate line. Remember, these are your expenses, not the expenses of the other party. If your expenses change each month, do your best to list an accurate average. If you have a monthly expense and you are unsure what line to place it on, you can place them in section H for other expenses. Finally, transfer all your totals from each section to this last section. Using your calculator, add them all up for your all total expenses. You can pause the video here and complete this page. Remember, all numbers listed here are for demonstration. Please enter only your own information. Continuing on to page 5, you will list your debts owed. Section 8 is for debts that are listed on page 4 in section 7, monthly expenses. In this section, you will list how much you still owe on each debt. For section 9, you will list monthly payments for debts not included on page 4. This may be credit card bills, other loans, court costs, legal obligations, fines, tickets, judgments, restitution, medical debt, student loans, or anything like that. Section 10 gives you an opportunity to explain any debt that you feel may need further explanation. It is okay to leave this section blank. Section 11 would be for any lawyer's fees and costs for this case. This section would be left blank if you do not have any lawyer's fees. Okay, almost done. The last section on this page asks for your signature. But before we do that, remember how we skipped section 2 and said we would come back to it? Well, let's go there now. Page 1, section 2 is a summary of your financial information. The first number is total monthly income. Look on page 2, section 3, line C, and copy that number to this box. The second number is for your total monthly expenses. You will find this number from section 7, line I. Copy that number into this box. The third number is your total monthly payments for other debts, and you can copy that from section 9. Now grab your calculator one last time. Add line 2 and line 3 and put that total in the box in line 4. Okay, now we're ready to sign the bottom of page 4. Print your name as well as list the city and state and the date you filled out the paperwork. Congratulations! You've completed the financial declaration. It's great that you've done all this work. Keep this form handy because you may need the information on this form for other forms that you're asked to complete. One final thing to note. This last page lists some records to send in with your paperwork, such as copies of your pay stubs, copies of your tax returns, and copies of other financial records you used while completing this paperwork. Please note that we only want copies, as we cannot guarantee that you will get your originals back. When you are satisfied that you completed the paperwork to the best of your ability, attach it to the rest of the modification request and send it in. We will follow up if we have questions or need more information. Remember, this is just the starting place. Next steps. After your paperwork is received by DCS, your SEO will review it to make sure it is complete. If there is anything missing or incomplete, your SEO will contact you. If it looks good, then your paperwork will be forwarded to the prosecutor. The prosecutor's office will review the paperwork and contact you with next steps. Note, different counties have different requirements and rules, so don't be surprised if more information is requested. Keep an eye on your mail, email, and phone for messages. And remember, you are always welcome to call at any point to check on the progress.